Good morning, everyone. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master. It is day December 21st, 2020 for Coffee and MTG, the morning talk show where we talk Magic the Gathering. Not the bunny out of a hat stuff, the Magic cards. If you want to talk Magic cards, you are in the right place. First half of the show, we do first half of the show, we do Q&A and general Magic discussion. Second half, we do deck list review. So if you got a 75 that you need some feedback on, you better believe you can submit it and be chosen at random to get feedback both from myself and the community. So good morning, everyone. Brew up that coffee and let's brew up our Magic. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Jarl. Good morning, Antonin. Good afternoon. Good morning. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are in this world. And it doesn't matter where you are. It's always a good time to brew up some coffee or some tea and let's have some fun. Are there any spoilers? Like, have any spoilers broken out yet? We need spoilers, people. And if there's no spoilers, I'll take leaks. I'll take whatever that we can talk about. It's Monday. It's Monday. That means more cards for Kaldheim should get revealed. But I don't see anything updated on this on Mythic Spoiler yet. Everything looks like same old as last time. But Mythic Spoiler might be a little slow on the draw, so maybe there's a site with that's more up to date. And it's a little bit early. It's a little bit early yet, so maybe the spoilers haven't been revealed yet. Good morning, Zach, Chris, Mikey J. I've been cubing up a storm. What about you? I like playing cube, but mostly as a social thing. You know how people like to play Commander as a social activity? That's how I like to play cubes. So I don't enjoy Cube online nearly as much as I play Cube in person. Good afternoon, Salvatore. We got a Star Wars spoiler, but it's not quite the same thing. Well, share it anyway. What's the Star Wars spoiler? Hold on, maybe we don't want Star Wars spoiler. I don't know what kind of Star Wars spoiler. Maybe we'll piss off people who haven't seen The Mandalorian yet. Off topic, but what do you think of Cyberpunk? I don't even know what this game is about, to be honest. To be absolute, I know it's some sort of it looks like Grand Theft Auto from my perspective. From what, I mean, I did look up some stuff. Cyberpunk, what, 77? What is this? They got Keanu Reeves in here. It looks like some sort of improved version of Grand Theft Auto. But I don't know jack all about this game. That is not my world. Wait, not on Twitch? Where have you been, Ugly Hood Rat? We've been doing this for a week. We're not on Twitch anymore for Coffee and MTG. Coffee and MTG has moved to Facebook. Salvador is here. Thank you very much for showing up on Facebook and on my YouTube pages. Both YouTube pages are featuring Coffee and MTG. Do you think a giant tribal will ever be a thing? It's possible. And if there's anything that we've discovered through the other tribes is after enough cards get printed, suddenly it's a tribe, you know? I mean, humans wasn't really a tribe. And the thing is, they have the perfect mana base now. If you see the humans mana base, you've got the perfect mana base for anything that you would possibly want to make. So you can grab giants from black, from red, from white, and stuff it all into one deck. And as the game keeps going on and they print more giants once in a blue moon, eventually there will be a 75 that could be a thing. And they got some good giants already, like Bone Crusher Giant. Good morning, Jack. Good morning, Grim Ducky. Good morning, Frederick. I heard that I heard Cyberpunk was buggy. I see memes about it. That Cyberpunk is so buggy that it's funny. Cube is great because it's simultaneously more fun and cheaper than regular limited. Yeah, I mean, I will give it that. I don't play limited for fun or competitively at all. We're talking like regular booster drafts. It's one of the buggiest games I've seen in my entire life, even on new consoles. Oh, they really get that in there before Christmas. That's how it is. Christmas is coming. Send it out. Just send it. We can patch it up later. I've talked to some software developers before. They're like, yeah, it's the people who are in charge of the bugs. They don't want to release the game, but the higher ups are like, send it. We can patch it later. That's how it is. That's how they make the money. They need to make the money. They don't have time to make the money in March. They need to make the money today. The fact that Cyberpunk doesn't work is really on theme. Interesting. Any advice for a sideboard against Death and Taxes? Okay. There are some good sideboard choices. Now, these are narrow cards. I'm just gonna say that up front. These are a little narrow. But the thing is, most of the deck is easy. Let's first analyze the deck. Why not? MTG Goldfish. Let's analyze the deck for a second to give you an idea why we're going to play these cards that I'm going to suggest. Where are you? Death and Taxes. There you are. You 1.9%. All right. So we got Giver of Runes, Leon and Arbiter. But here's the interesting thing. There's actually quite a few. Whoa, maybe there's not in this version. Usually there's a decent chunk of ETB effects in the deck. So we got Stoneforge Mystic, ETB effect. This is blue-red in Taxes. Sorry, this is white-red Taxes. Seasoned Pyromancer, another ETB effect, by the way. Skyclave Apparition, ETB effect. So one of the greatest weapons against this would be something like Torpor Orb. I mean, this is narrow. I mean, there are other Torpor Orb effects out there if you don't want them. And creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. So it turns off Seasoned Pyromancer. That's not super common, but can turn off like Yorion if they're playing Yorion in Taxes. Definitely turns off Skyclave Apparition and Stoneforge Mystic. I feel like there's one more ETB creature that I'm not seeing here. Oh, Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp is... Where's a more traditional deck? What is this nonsense? All right, we got Flicker Wisp. That's a lethal weapon in their archetype. Of course, you could get this in creature form. You can play Hushbringer. But it would be vulnerable to Path to Exile. I don't know what colors you're talking about, but Torpor Orb is like an all-around useful card. Bring in Sweepers and Spot Removal if you have them. I mean, that's the solution to any creature deck. But if we're talking like hardcore sideboard cards... This is one route. Another one, I actually found Pithing Needle to be fucking amazing against Death and Taxes. Actually, really, really good because you name Giver of Runes. It's a 1/2 creature now. You name Stoneforge Mystic, can activate to put the equipment in play. You name what else? Oh, name Ether Vial. If a sword is already in play, you can name it. Like if you kill the Germ token, name Batterskull, can't return back to hand, can't get replayed onto the battlefield. You can even, if you need to protect your lands, you can name Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin. I mean, they can still tap for mana, but they cannot be activated to destroy your lands. Pending, maybe they have like 2 Silent Clearings out. You could play Pithing Needle, name Silent Clearing so that they can't draw cards off of it. You know what I mean? What else do we have here? So anyway, that's also has been actually a pretty good card for me against Death and Taxes. And it could get hit by Skyclave Apparition, but if it gets hit by, say, Flicker Wisp, that's not so bad. The Pithing Needle's going to come back, and you can rename whatever it is you named before. So that's some cyber cards you could think about when going up against Death and Taxes. Good morning, Olaf. Yes, hello, Canada. Apparently it snowed here not too long ago. New Kaldheim Wolf counter blue-eye control or control magic in general? Huh? New Kaldheim Wolf counter... I don't know what you're talking about. You might have to share with me what you know. What's kind of hilarious is that their stock price is tanking, so for once the decision from above kind of backfired. Maybe they'll learn to listen to the developers and let them put out a working product. You know what? To them, the people higher up, I don't know. You know what? I would agree with you. Having something that's... I guess they didn't realize how bad it was. We're talking about Cyberpunk here. Which, by the way, I cannot answer a whole lot of questions on Cyberpunk. I don't really know anything about it. And I don't even know if this is the situation. It sounds like that's what it is. Whenever there's a buggy product that comes out, it's because it got pushed. It got pushed. Developers want to work on it some more, but no, we got to get it out there. That's generally the common issue. They can fix it later. They can always fix it later. Good morning, Hoax. Yeah, by the way, we were just talking a little bit about Cyberpunk, not necessarily about MTG. People are like, what's going on with Magic the Gathering Online? Is it falling apart? What's happening in Arena? Is Arena suddenly turning into a pile of crap? It's not the case. Blood Moon kills Death and Taxes. Is that so? Let's take a look at a general. But they're playing Blood Moon. Look, they're playing like Magus of the Moon. I find that a little hard to believe, especially an Ether Vial deck. I can tell you from my own experience playing an Ether Vial deck, you usually aren't hurt by Blood Moon very much. It's not that devastating. About 11.2 planes. That should be more than enough to get around Blood Moon. Shouldn't be a big deal. Do you think the Wolf with Pernicious Deed effect is too slow to be a threat in Modern? I have no idea. We're going to have to wait and see. You know, there's so many Modern staples that have surprised me over the years. I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. The good thing is that it does blow up all of their stuff. That's very important, because if it was just the opponent's stuff, that would be very frustrating. So you only have to deal with the stupid Wolf. Pithing Needle works against Port as well in Taxes. Oh, in Legacy, yes. It's a heavily Modern crowd, but yes, in Legacy, I think you have even more options. Or do you have more options? You have a lot of options. You can name Caracas if that's necessary. I made a funny deck that was Tron with Titans, Uro, and Primetime. So it's like you're making Cloud Post from Legacy. Artificial Cloud Post. The trucks kept me clearing the snow last night. Oh, tons of snow here. Mr. Peterson's like me, who's been running Pithing Needle and Torpor Orb from the start. Exactly. You knew something that the rest of us didn't. Is Magic the Gathering Online turning into a pile of crap? A little late to be asking that. Oh. It depends on your perspective. Like, it's funny. You don't know what it used to look like. If it was really bad. I think a lot of, I know it's not great, but I really want to give Magic the Gathering Online some credit. It doesn't crash nearly as much as it used to. In fact, I mean, I have a pretty competent computer these days for the last 5 years, and it just never crashes anymore. Whereas the old version of Magic the Gathering Online, even if you had a great computer, it didn't matter. Your client was crashing constantly because it was always the client's fault. It's not beautiful, but you know what? It works, and it's not as bad as people say. It's just not fancy. It's not glorious like MTG Arena. Do you think pathways are good enough for Modern? In the right deck, maybe. In the right deck, maybe, but very unlikely. Just because, let's look at some of them. Like, you have to commit yourself to one or the other. Like, if you, for example, when you play Breeding Pool, or even like we're seeing the Triome lands, you have access to these colors for forever. I'll tell you this much. I think these can be budget cards. I think these will make excellent budget lands for a lot of decks. I think there's a lot of Golgari players, even Jund players. They wanted like a dual land, something to play Thoughtseize on turn 1 while still having access to green mana. And I think things like Darkbone Pathway are going to be it for them. So I think they are going to see Modern play, but not competitive Modern play. I think this is going to be a very I think it's going to see casual Modern play. There might, I can't imagine who wants this, but maybe there's a deck out there that might want it. Blue Tron plays the blue. Okay, apparently they already see some play. Tron plays the blue-red pathway. It's got to be a deck that is not interested in playing double of any color, like double blue, double red, double green, double white, double black. It's got to be like only one color or the other, and not very intense in either of the colors. So remember, if you know Coffee and MTG, if you want to get my attention, you want to be part of the or you want your questions to be seen, please help me by using 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after question. Helps me find your question in the sea of comments here. Would Rishon Import be too good for Modern? No. I actually think Rishon Import could be printed into Modern. I don't know if they will. I don't know what archetype that helps, but it would actually help hurt the pawns, like, sorry, the mana decks for sure. I mean, that's such a beating for Tron. Even go, like, say I go land, my opponent goes turn 1 expedition map. I go port, pass, tap your land. Now you can't even find your 3rd Tron piece with expedition map that turn. You have to wait the next turn. And that's too late. You're going to, like, sink your 3rd turn looking for a 3rd Tron piece, put into play. You might only be adding 2 mana with it. You don't even have anything to do on you don't have anything good to do on turn 3. So that might be very relevant to some decks. Is the construction getting louder? It's actually getting a little quieter. Is noise cancellation on? Should be on. So I hope you guys can't hear it. The construction, they get really close to my building, or they get further away. Today they're a little bit further away. The days that they're, like, really close to me, it just drives me insane. I can feel the vibration of every single time they're, like, slamming this. I think what they're doing is they're smashing steel beams into the ground, and they start really tall and they slowly make their way down until they're like a little stub at the bottom. It's crazy, but also very annoying. I can feel these beams getting drilled into the ground. You enjoy Cube as a social thing, and forgive me for now knowing fairly new, but what's your favorite format? Is it Modern? Your channel seems based around it, but is that due to demand? Modern is my favorite format. I liked it because I like the diversity of the decks, and I really like that even today there is a lot of flexibility to find new ideas, change things. Look at all the new decks that just came out of nowhere. We got, like, Obosh Prowess, we got Hammer Time, what is also brand new, Reclaimer Titan. Like, these are genuine new archetypes that were potentially around for a very long time, but were just discovered recently, or in some cases positioned well recently, like Hammer Time. Hammer Time apparently has been around. The creator made it a long time ago. So there is a lot of room for new innovation, and I just like the gameplay for the most part. I really like this format. I like that there's a lot of room to adapt in this format, whereas, like, I think there's a lot less room to adapt in Legacy. Or I mean, there's adaptation, but there are very... I want to say that there's, like, very narrow classes of decks in Legacy. Maybe that's not the way I want to put it. Whatever. Legacy is a good format too. What is the best 15 cards to sideboard in the meta? Oh, I mean, that depends on the deck. I mean, if you want to talk about very generally, what are the best sideboard cards? Can we figure this out? MTG Goldfish should have something like top sideboard cards. Okay, let's just quickly look at an Uro deck where they have in the sideboard. So Veil of Summer, Ether Gust, definitely big cards. Celestial Purge, also a big card. So Veil of Summer is just for basically the Uro Mirrors, Jund, Shadow, protect yourself from Thoughtseize and removal. You can also protect yourself from Cryptic Command, counter spells in general. Ether Gust also good, helps you defeat Titan. So, like, these decks play a lot of really good counters, like good sideboard cards. So Ether Gust, really good for the Titan decks, but also useful against the Abosh Prowess decks. Maybe you can shuffle a large or put a large Prowess creature back on top of their deck. Celestial Purge, very well positioned. Just exile the Death Shadows, exile the Swift Spears and Soulscar Mages. Especially exiling Death Shadows are very important because they play with Lurrus. So if you kill a Death Shadow, it doesn't matter all that much because they're just going to get it back from the graveyard eventually when they get Lurrus back in play. But if you exile it, then it's just gone. Cleansing Wildfire is a pretty good one to compete against Tron decks and also Titan decks in general. I wouldn't say Ashok is the biggest one these days, but it's a good one. And Mystical Dispute, this is just more of a mirror match one. But let's look at another deck. So Sideboard, Soul Guide Lantern is being played in this list. But the point is some sort of graveyard hate is very important because you have to compete. That's your best chance of beating Uro decks. If they don't have a graveyard, they actually don't almost do anything. They might do something, but like seriously, the soul of the deck is Uro. So I would say you want to have some sort of graveyard hate. I personally am using Relic of Progenitus. That is a good card in the Merfolk deck. But also Nihil Spellbomb is also a good one. But this particular user is playing with Soul Guide Lantern. Angrat's Rampage is used pretty often in some Rakdos Prowess and Rakdos Shadow. It's a removal spell, but also can make your opponent sacrifice key artifacts, particularly Chalice of the Void. Kozilek's Return. So Kozilek's Return is important if your deck is weak to Core Firewalker and Auriok Champion. Auriok Champion is also one of the best cards in the metagame for sideboards right now because of the Mono Red Prowess decks, the Abosh Prowess decks, and Death Shadow, among some other archetypes. So your only way of beating... I meant to make a video on this. Like, there was a sideboard war about Auriok Champion. I mean, so Auriok Champion is very good against a lot of really heavy-hitting archetypes in the metagame right now. And then those decks have to fight the Auriok Champion. There's like a sideboard war. So they have Kozilek's Return to defeat the Auriok Champions because Kozilek's Return costs a red, but it has Devoid. It means it has no color. So it's going to deal 2 damage to everything, including Auriok Champion, which has protection from red. Boil, just for mostly, it's mostly, let's go back. Why can't I go back forwards? So Boil is mostly for the Uro decks, but you can also just randomly get a Titan deck because of Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Path Exile, see, we got the Auriok Champion here, rest in peace. So yes, again, Graveyard Hate. Choke, very similar to Boil. If you don't have access to red, use green. I actually considered playing this in my Merfolk deck because most of my it acts like a back to basics because most of my lands are non-islands in my current Merfolk deck. I only play with 7 islands. I highly considered playing this card, but the thing is, my matchup against blue decks are usually pretty good anyway, and I don't think it's going to be that. I don't know. Okay. Anyone who plays Choke, is it good against Titan decks? Like if they play Dryad of the Elysian Grove and I slam Choke, is it good in that scenario or not? Like I have no idea. My fear is that my opponent has a Valakut, the Moten Pinnacle, and then Choke is useless. Because they'll just play whatever lands they play just to blow up my creatures anyway, and I'll lose anyway. Even with a Choke on the battlefield. Just out of curiosity, if anyone knows if Choke is good against Titan decks, just to get them when they tap out for Dryad of the Elysian Grove. So imagine you get them. That's a good get them moment. See here, Relic of Progenitus, Celestial Purge, a lot of the regular suspects. Now, I think a card that might be underrated is Collector Oof. Might be underrated. I don't know if we're there yet, but Collector Oof can interact relatively well with Ad Nauseam, because they can't use their mana rocks anymore. Penthead Prism gets turned off. Lotus Bloom gets turned off. Also very good against Hammer Time. They can't activate any of the artifacts anymore. So Collector Roof, I think, is good there. What else? It's interacts with the Heliod combo, so they can't activate Walking Ballista. They can't remove a counter. Hardened Scales is actually getting more popular. So Affinity players, you might want to start playing Hardened Scales right now because Collector Roof, like I said, is underrated because not enough people are playing it. And I think there's a good spot in the metagame for Hardened Scales right now. So Collector Roof, I think, is actually maybe a slightly underrated card. This is a beautiful sideboard, actually, by... okay, so they got Kozilek. This is a Bosch Prowess. So they have Kozilek's Return for Auriok Champion, but they have Shattering Spree for Chalice of the Void, for all the Chalice decks out there. Among other things, Relic of Progenitus to exile graveyards, but Blast Zone, that's a pretty cool card. Also can deal with Auriok Champion amongst other cards. Well, Boil is better than Choke, but what if you don't play red? That's the question. Choke is medium. Depends if Valakut online. Yeah, that's what I assumed. And okay, let's look at one white deck. What are they playing in the sideboard? Pithing Needle. I'm all in on Pithing Needle. I have 4 Pithing Needle. And you see Auriok Champion. If you play Auriok Champion, if you got him for Thoughtseize in this particular sideboard. So I think that gives a pretty good idea of what are the best sideboard cards right now. I hope that was some value, and also you now understand why these cards are being played. Are we finished reviewing decks? No, we haven't even started. We do that. I usually do it 3/4 of the way into the show. Because we all love, not all of us love watching the deck list review. Okay, what cards in your opinion will be banned in Modern? I think it's inevitable. Uro's getting banned, and I think something from one of the Titan decks are getting banned. I don't know if they're gonna get like Primeval Titan, Dryad of the Elysian Groves, or Field of the Dead. Something is going. I don't know what it is. Titan decks also make up a very large percentage of the metagame, and they are very, I mean, outside of hardcore cards like Blood Moon, which don't even work all the time because your opponent can just play Dryad of the Elysian Grove afterwards. Because of time stamping purposes, everything is now whatever color mana they want. And like even the Reclaimer Titan decks aren't even that weak to Blood Moon because they can just go fetch a forest with Elvish Reclaimer. It's a very strong deck. It's very hard to stop. Can't stop that Titan from coming out. So that's, in my opinion, that's going to happen. But I just don't know. It's very clear they'll ban Uro, but it's not clear if they'll ban what they'll ban from a Titan deck. And mind you, Titan decks have already gotten a lot of cards banned. Like, is it time to ban Titan? You know, that discussion is coming up a lot more often now. That discussion is coming up. Like, we keep banning cards around the Titan deck, but not actually Titan itself. So many cards have been banned in that deck now. Is Pioneer going to survive post-pandemic? Yes. In fact, I think it has a better chance of thriving. I think the moment that people can go to their local game store and play with their Pioneer cards that they bought last year, well, maybe those cards might be out of date, but the moment that people can actually play with their Pioneer cards, and also Wizards will eventually push Pioneer again, Pioneer should survive. I don't think it should die. Especially, like, okay, if they start making GPs and the formats are Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, people are going to be forced to play Pioneer. Wizards of the Coast has a lot of power to force you to play these formats. Just like how they force us to play Standard. No one likes that format. That format's okay. I can't say no one likes that format, but that format's garbage. It always has been garbage. Once in a while, it's fun, but you can't hold on to that fun for very long. Do you think Tango lands from Battle for Zendikar are viable for control in Modern as one of extra shockland in situations where you don't care if it comes to play tapped or you control 2 basics? I forget what are the Tango lands. What are the because it takes 2 to tango? I can't remember the stupid nonsense. These are the Tango lands. Enter the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Not a chance. This looks awful. This actually looks really bad for Modern because you need to have basics in play. You need to have a lot of basics. It looks very unlikely to be playable for Modern. So the more, I mean, you can fetch out the basics, of course, but if you can fetch out the basics, you can fetch out. If you have fetch lands to get the basics to smooth your mana base, then you have fetch lands to get your shocks and your triumphs. So I actually don't think those are very Modern playable. At least not competitively. Are you going to play today? Yes. We are going to play today. Is Pioneer going to be a thing or played format? I think I answered that already. Do you use Brazen Bar in Modern or Legacy? I don't right now, and I'll tell you why. Because I have Brazen Bar for one reason. Let's get Brazen Bar up here. By the way, if you love the show, give a like. Give a like wherever you are. You're on Facebook, give those likes. You're on YouTube, give those likes. Algorithm loves it. Okay, so here's Brazen Borrower. The sole purpose I have this in my deck is for Ensnaring Bridge. I honestly don't see Ensnaring Bridge much anymore. I don't remember the last time someone played it against me. Last time someone could, like, I even had a match where someone played a Karn, fetched an Oblivion Stone instead, because I guess they put the Ensnaring Bridge in their deck, or they didn't even have Ensnaring Bridge in their sideboard. But the point is, I don't see Ensnaring Bridge these days. So it's just not worth it to have these cards in my sideboard when they're not actually going to be there for the purpose that I had them for. So that's the deal. Is it playable in Legacy? Yeah, I guess so. But I don't play it in Legacy. Nikachu, I saw your take on the new Realm Walker changeling. If we max out Flash Fish, Trickster, Brineborn, Harbinger, do you think we can take advantage of it in such a shell? Probably not, because if we don't play with counter spells and we're not interacting with our opponent, we are like the clunkiest deck in Modern. Like, our tempo cards, if we can bounce stuff to our opponent's hand, that's not bad, but just playing creatures, we're just going to get raced by everything else. I don't think. And by the way, we need to get value. Well, I mean, what if we just play this? We morphed our deck for this Realm Walker. Let's get Realm Walker here. I'll tell you what the greatest shame is going to be. We completely changed our deck full of creatures for this Realm Walker. And then what if they kill it? What if they just kill it? We tap out for 3 mana and then they kill it. Then what? Still doesn't interact with Vile. Doesn't. I don't think so. I'm not. The problem is if playing a bunch of Tricksters and Brineboards and Harbingers were so good right now, then I would be doing that just in general. I don't think I'm going to get. I don't think I can, like what I'm trying to say is, I don't think I can stop ad nauseum by taking the Realm Walker strategy. I don't think I'm going to be that much better against, say, Hammer Time or Luris Shadow if I go the Realm Walker strategy. I might, maybe. What are some really aggressive, even against, for example, Uro decks? I need counter spells. If I don't interact with that Cryptic Command, they'll just Cryptic Lock me. They'll go like Jace the Mind Sculptor, Cryptic Command, just bounce forever, and then that's it. So I need to interact with them. Anyway, that's my take. I think Merfolk will get a lot weaker against most Modern decks if we go an all creature route, and that's the problem. Maybe there's a way of going almost all creatures, but I mean that's up to the deck builders. I just don't see it yet. Do you prefer blue-white Merfolk or Simic Merfolk? I think I still prefer Simic Merfolk, but I'm exploring blue-white Merfolk. I have to say I played with Luris quite a bit, and I'm not impressed with Luris in the just Luris normal Merfolk deck. So I'm going to scrap it and go work on Splinterfin again. Spoiler alert, we're going to Splinterfin some people today. Maybe a video about the best 5 Sideboard cards. There might not be a best 5 for every color, though. It might be I would just go over the top 10 that are being played at this very moment. How do you feel about Kiki plus Deceiver? A very good deck. Very good. Underrated deck. Very strong deck. More people should be playing it. Timu clearly killing it with this deck. Multiple top 8s. It's top 8ing I don't know, 33% of the time or something. He's doing great. Or maybe 25%. It's doing very, very strong right now. And the new Wolf, do you think $5 is the right price? I have no idea. The market's going to determine what the price of this card is. The price sometimes isn't based on power. Price is based on a combination of power level, but popularity and supply. So if a card is very popular, there's so much garbage commander cards that are so expensive, so many, because people just want them for that format. And sometimes commander players help push the price of certain cards. Do you think bug control is possible with the new Wolf? Ice Fang, Uro, Jace, Lily, Gurmag, Tasker filled with interaction good enough for Modern? I don't know. I don't know because like the big question is how often is that wolf going to kill your own stuff? Because your opponent, if I understand correctly, your opponent could kill. Let's look at this card. I mean, it's available here. Okay, so let's look at the Wolfie. It says whenever a permanent opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1/+1, put a +1/+1 counter on this. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Seralf has one or more +1/+1 counters on it, you may remove all of them. If you do, exile each other non-land permanent with converted mana cost. Oh, it says you may remove all of them. If Seralf has one or more, you may. So here's the deal. Okay, let's say you have a Lily on the battlefield. You got Jace the Mind Sculptor. You got your Uro. And your opponent starts stocking up fetch lands, and then they crack all of them, putting Seralf Realm Eater to like, I don't know, 4 counters. Are you going to want to... maybe that's fine, because you have a big 7/7 creature. Do you want to exile your Jace and your Uro and everything else? I don't know. I guess the fact that you have the option, you may remove all of them. It should be a must. You have no control over this. Interesting. You know, I never paid attention to the may part of this. This could be really busted. This could be way more busted than I thought. Fuck, if this... it's a legendary creature, who cares? Who cares if it's legendary? If it's busted, it's busted. I hope this is not a good card. But the point is, hopefully you're not exiling your own stuff. I mean, anything is possible. We'll see what happens. Morning, Steven. Is it time to ban Titan? Yes, absolutely. A lot of people are pushing more in this direction. Titan shouldn't be banned. It's just the best thing for big mana decks. If Wizards would stop printing dumb lands, it would be perfectly fine. In my opinion, it's even fine right now. But you know what, Spider Monkey? That's like saying Birthing Pod is fine. They just shouldn't be printing more creatures that are good creatures. I mean, one way or another, like, it's not even the dumb lands. I mean, they printed Dryad of the Elysian Grove, which now made Valakut a new target for that Primeval Titan. And make no mistake, Primeval Titan was looking up Valakuts even before Dryad of the Elysian Grove was printed. It's just inevitable that tutors that put things into play are only going to get stronger as they print more cards. Like, you can't ask Wizards to never print more lands. There's going to be more utility lands over time, like how they got Radiant Fountain and like, think of everything that they use between Teleria West and Radiant Fountain and Kahalni Garden. Like, eventually they just get little pieces, and over time the Titan just has to naturally get stronger because the things that it can tutor for get stronger. And like, even that, like, also because Teleria West exists, every 0 mana artifact makes Titan decks even stronger, because Teleria West, let's get Teleria West on the screen. So the more 0 mana artifacts that Wizards prints, and you can't ask Wizards to never print more 0 mana artifacts, this thing gets better. Like, you know what? My Titan matchup a long time ago was perfectly good. It was perfectly fine. And then when they printed Walking Ballista, that changed by quite a bit, because now they can tutor for this. And I know it's not always the most popular tutor target right now, but this definitely put a huge beating on me in prior versions of Amulet. But the point is that they can, as you print more 0 mana artifacts, this card gets better. So Primeval Titan just has access to like basically a million different cards once you get the Titan in play. Not to mention Teleria West itself looks for Summoner's Pact, which gets the Titan. So like the Titan, just it's insanely consistent, and what it can do is just getting ridiculous. Anyway, I'm not pointing any fingers at what they banned, but like, you know, Birthing Pod got banned because as the number of creatures keeps increasing in the card pool, Birthing Pod just naturally has to get more busted. To the point today, it would just be a turn. It would be like if you let your opponent untap with Birthing Pod, you just lose. Like that's the point that we got. It was getting like pretty egregious at the time. Now it's just like there would be a snap combo win by the point at the time that they get to untap with it. Brazen Borrower as a merfolk. How good would Fish be in the modern? Oh my god, I would love Brazen Borrower as a merfolk, because at least it might have one toughness, but you could play a lord and you have a 4/2 flyer in there. That'd be fucking ridiculous. I would love it. I don't know how good Merfolk would be in the metagame, but that would be a really good card to have. Anger the Gods or Kozilek's Return. Depends on the deck. I would say if you care about Oriok Champion and Core Firewalker, you need to get your Kozilek's Return. If you don't care about those cards, Anger the Gods is fine. What do you think Fairies needs to become more competitive? They need a Lord. They need a Lord really badly. Or they need to completely change how they think about the deck. And like, if you're talking like, and it's hard for me to even understand what you mean by fairies. Like for me, I'm thinking the tribal deck fairies. You know, fairies as like just getting in there with some like creatures. Most people think of fairies as a control deck with like 4 Spellstarter Sprite, 2 Bitter Blossoms, and basically a blue-black control deck. It's more wizards in that deck with Snapcaster Mage than fairies. Do you think we should start renaming modern decks in the same way old school decks were named? Probably not. I think it's fine how they're being named right now. I love the old names, you know, naming decks off of like cereal boxes and stuff like that, but it's too confusing to a new audience. It's too much of an insider thing. So I don't think it's that good of an idea. I like the idea, but it's like, practically speaking, it's not a good idea. Yeah. So in order to stop Titan from getting stronger, they have to stop printing new lands. We're just not going to, whatever it is, everything that you see, that's it. They'll reprint old stuff, but no new stuff. Exactly. Which is not going to happen. It's just not. Do you think Aladdin Recall is possibly too good for Modern? No, actually, I actually like the design of Aladdin Recall. I don't like crap like Collected Company or Court of Calling, which puts the damn thing in play. I hate that stuff. I hate Whir of Invention, stuff like this. I hate cards that put cards in play. I hate that. Oh yeah, let's just tutor the damn thing directly onto the battlefield. GG. I hate that. But the fact that they put it into their hand and they have to sink more mana into actually putting the card onto the battlefield, I like that a lot more. Like, if anything, I think Aladdin's Call how do I spell this? Oh, did you mean Aladdin's Call? Someone told me about that. I don't know who it is. They're like, they got a suggestion bar here. Thank you very much. And then we've got Court of Calling. Or so let's go with Finale of Devastation. This is a more popular one. Okay. This card, this has Convoke, right? No, this doesn't have Convoke. Okay, then I have to use I mean, it's essentially the same thing, except that potentially things can get really outrageously big. But I want to talk about Court of Calling. Because at least with Court of Calling, when it comes to Court of Calling, you can use your creatures in play to add mana, which which really pisses me off. With Aladdin's Call, you search for a creature card in your search your library for a creature card. That's fine, but you put it into your hand, and then you have to cast it. So you have like 2 opportunities to either counter Aladdin's Call or you counter the creature that they're about to put into play. And I mean, even then, there's going to be some scenarios where they might put something into their hand, they can't even play it, and you can like Thoughtseize it or Inquisition out of their hand or something like that. I don't know what scenario that's going to happen, but you get the idea. There's more opportunity to interact with this, and it chokes their mana. They need more mana to do this. They need lands to cast the creature. They can't use their creatures to cast the creature. And Coco is like, I mean, it's really stupid. You can put 6 mana worth of creatures directly onto the battlefield with Collected Company. I think this card's way more. This card is harder to design a deck around, but I think this card is more busted than Aladdin's Call. I think this card is okay. It's not the worst. I will admit that, like, you know, there's a lot of good creatures out there, but I think it's okay. I think it's okay for now. It's definitely seeing play. It's a good card. It's a good card. Make no mistake, but I think it's okay. Opinion on Chevelle, Bane of Monsters. I don't even know what this is. Oh, this guy. This is an old card, right? Death Touch at the beginning of your upkeep. Your opponent controls no bounty no permanents with bounty cards on them. Put a bounty counter on target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Whenever a permanent opponent controls with a bounty counter on it dies. This is terrible. This is just 2 mana, 1/3, 2 dirtily. Like right now, like there's a reason why Death Shadow decks are playing Scourge of the Skyclaves, because that thing could be an 8/8 creature for 2 mana. So it's just a little too dirty for black-green. I think they want more power. And it like survives nothing. I guess it survives Stomp, but it still dies to all other conventional removal spells. So it's not resistant, and it can't attack through things. I mean, okay, it's like, I guess it's a decent blocker because of Death Touch, but not in love with it. Not in love with it. Hey, you actually have coffee? I have coffee too! Who else has coffee? We all should have our coffees ready for Coffee and MTG. Why don't you play Deeproot Champion if you have lots of counter spells? I have a lot, but I don't have that many counter spells. I will at best play like, I don't know, 1 or 2 a game. It's not that good. I will have a 1/1 creature that maybe is going to be a 2/2 or a 3/3 somewhere in the game. Maybe I gotta work to get to a grizzly bear. I don't want to do that. If it started off as a 2/2 3/3, maybe we could consider it. But like starting off as a 1/1 really sucks. Well, they didn't have fire design when they considered Ixalan, that's for sure. There's no fire design here, that's for sure. By the way, everyone, thank you very much, everyone who's showing up. 115 people showing up today. That's the most I've ever seen on Coffee and MTG, at least these days. That's an excellent turnout. About to get some coffee. I got some coffee. Love the little emotes. It's 2 a.m. here. Holy crap, you must be in Europe. Where are you? You are 2 a.m. So I'm 7 hours ahead. You're in Australia. I'm figuring out the time zones of everyone in the world. Anyone from Antarctica? Oh, we're definitely doing Decklist review. You hear that? Voluntarist? It's reminding us what time it is. It is time for Decklist review. So this is how it works. Go into the description. There is a link to my Discord. Join my Discord. From there, go to the channel, Decklist review. Use the command, !review deck space. Give the URL to your deck list, and then you have the chance of getting your deck list reviewed. Ooh, we got a lot of people posting decks today. That's awesome. That's fantastic. You're chosen. It's not a queue, by the way. You are chosen at random, and just make sure that you have less than 100 characters when you submit your deck list, because then I can't see it. Or sorry, it won't get. It's just a stupid thing. You can't submit more than 100 characters. It's dumb. I wish you could submit more. If you're nice, you have a deck. Give notes in your actual deck list. Sorry, in the link. So before we get into we're going to keep this up. Before we get into deck list review, we are going to thank our sponsors, starting with themanabase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. And the Manabase is sponsored by FusionGamingOnline.com. And every week at FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite local game store, they have a deal of the week. This week is the same deal as last week. That's sort of lame. Whatever. It's good. It's a 50% off Xmas sale. So hundreds of items. I don't know which items. Got to go check it out. Look at all the deals. Let's look at the deals. All deals. Show me your deals. 50% off Secret Lair Ultimate Edition. 50% off SDCC exclusive Planeswalkers. Is this 50% off? $350. Whatever. This is a big deal. $269 for an Avacyn's Restored booster box. Interested in any of that stuff? Go check out FusionGamingOnline.com. And we're also going to thank our sponsor, Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. If you want to play the latest, hottest deck without the fear of it getting banned, because you're not going to buy the cards, you're going to rent them with Mana Traders. And you can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or you can save yourself 15% off your first 3 months using my coupon code Nikachu. Sweet stuff. Where's my branding? There's the branding. You need a Discord account. Yes, you need a Discord account. What's your Discord? You can see it. It's in the description, both on Facebook and YouTube. Go check it out. All right, so let's review some deck lists. Dingus Mingus. Congratulations. You are the next contestant on Deck List Review. Don't give me a commander deck. We review everything but commander. Every so often, someone submits a commander deck. I have nothing against you. I just can't do shit about it. All right, we got Aluris. We got a Hex Drinker. I saw a Hex Drinker get played against me recently. Grimflayer, Tarmogoyf. Ooh, this is like Jund, but not... How many colors do we have here? Okay, so we've got Renin 6. Fatal Push, Inquisition of Kozilek, Path to Exile, 2 Thoughtseize, Lingering Souls, Smiting Helix. Ooh, so there's actually a little bit more red to this. Smiting Helix coming to get ya. Mishra's Bauble, Seal of Fire, because we are we're a Luris deck, aren't we? Okay, so Luris, Hextrigger, Grimflare. Okay, gotcha. Blackleaf Cliffs, Blood Crypt, Godless Shrine, Marsh Flats. So you have no basic planes. I'm guessing you're just going to say F it if opponent plays Blood Moon. You have no basic planes. It's the only thing I find standing out. You don't need a basic mountain because if your opponent plays Blood Moon, who gives a crap? Doesn't matter. Engineer Explosive, Alpine Moon, Nihil Spellbomb, Surgical Extraction, Collective Brutality, Seal of Primordium, and 2 Boil. Okay. I guess this is a fine Luris deck. Like, it's okay. You've got the Seal of Fire. You have a Mishra's Bauble. You can bring Renin 6 back, I guess. I was thinking that, like, this deck... And you're on a very light red splash. You have a very light red splash, which is okay. You get the Smiting Helix, which is backbreaking against, like, creature-based decks. I find that your white splash is also very light. But Path to Exile is something you sort of like in this economy these days. Somehow I want you to have more... I guess you don't need more threats because you're depending on Lingering Souls, right? I guess the only suspect card in this entire deck is Hex Drinker. This card literally hasn't seen serious play, mostly because of it's expensive. It's not 1 mana. It's like 9 mana. You almost never have time to... You almost have no time to, like, pump it up. Like, you want it to get to protection from instants, but then, like, you level it up to 4 and they just kill it in response. Not to mention it's a 2/1 creature off the bat, so it has no chance against any of the prowess decks. Now, Grimflayer can start off as a potentially a 4/4, pending how this game has played out. And you don't need to play it on turn 2. You can sandbag it for a little while. Just wondering, is there something better we can put in its place? I don't know. Scourge of the Skyclaves, from my own experience, is actually quite clunky. It's very difficult to play with Scourge of the Skyclaves. Because if your opponent hasn't lost any life, then this card is just completely stuck in your hand. I do have a question, though. Smiting Helix is great if you're playing with some discard outlets. Very specifically, Seasoned Pyromancer, but you're not running this. So you literally have a 4-mana card in your deck. Because if you can't discard this card on some regular basis, and maybe you don't need to, because Grimflayer can, like, flip it over into your graveyard. This card might be really clunky. How do we make Hex Drinker work? Ironcrag Feet and use the mana to level up? No, I just don't know if there is a way to make this card work. It's deceptively expensive. Like, it's not a 1-mana card, it's a 9-mana card. But you don't, like, a Jund deck or a 4-color Jund deck just doesn't have any chance. They don't have any spare mana for this thing unless they've reached the complete long game. But if you've reached the complete long game, you have 6-7 mana available, you might as well play Primeval Titan or something. You know what I mean? I understand this is a Luris deck, so we got to play something else. But this is, like, pretty crappy in the early game. It's fine in the super late game, I guess, if you rip this off the top. And I guess you could... Oh, hey, do you know what? I'll give you this. You could bring it back with Luris later in the game. So if it dies early, maybe Lurrus will bring it back at a time that you have a lot of mana, and they'll just take over the opponent. So maybe this is a better Hex Drinker shell than I've seen in the past, because I've mostly been seeing Hex Drinker in just Boomer Jund lists, Boomer Jund. Those Boomer Jund players, they don't want to play with any of those new cards. They just want to play Boomer Jund. They tried Hex Drinker, but it just failed miserably. So maybe there is something to this. If it dies early, you bring it back with Lurrus later, and you can pump it up. You know what? I think Dark Confidant is a terrible card right now. It is a bad, bad card. There's you may not get value out of it, vulnerable to everything. And if you do get value out of it, you lose a lot of life, which is not something you want to do against Scourge of the Skyclave Death Shadow decks, and Prowess, and basically anything. Late game Hex Drinker can be great, hence why this list only runs 2. Anyway, I would just I'd pay attention to Hex Drinker. I'd also pay really close attention to how good Smiting Helix is, because this could be a card that's just stuck in your hand very often, very often. You don't really have a mana base to play 4-drops. You're not playing 4-drops very often. You only have 21 lands. Well, maybe you have 22 lands because of the Mishra's Bauble. You get what I'm saying? This card, it's fine. If you can cast this at 4 mana, get value, that's awesome. But you have less opportunity to play it 4, or just to get it out of your hand in general, than I think other decks that are trying to run it. Anyway, the rest of it is okay, I guess. At first, I was going to recommend scrap the red, because I only see a Ren and 6 and a Sealfire here, and I don't see any red cards. There's some red cards in the sideboard, but you got the Smiting Helix to just make it worthwhile enough. Anyway, thank you very much for submitting the list. I hope some of that feedback is useful. I think you know the risks with Hex Drinker. Just be objective with yourself. Also, I think Grimflare, I guess, is the best thing you could do. Not a huge fan about Grimflare, but what the hell does Jund play these days? People they still play Scavenging Ooze. Grimflare is a fine card. It's just way better when it's already a 4/4 instead of a 2/2 at the beginning of the game. A little weak to a few too many cards. Anyway, thank you very much for the list, and good luck with it. Moving on, we got Nardoto. Oh, God. Okay, hold on. How do we get to look at this in English? There's certainly an English. Inglés. What is this? Ooh, Cat Tribal. Okay, but how do we turn this to English? I cannot read this for shit. Okay, maybe I know the cards, though. Maybe we know the cards. Okay, if anyone knows how to turn this to English, let me know in the comments section. And oh yeah, if there's any questions about why we're on YouTube, it's because, well, the first reason is I'm trying to get to partner on Twitch, but to do that, I need an average of 75 people watching at any given time, which I can achieve when I'm doing gameplay, but not when I'm doing Coffee and MTG. Only 35 to 45 people of you show up. So I'm going to do it elsewhere, and more people can enjoy Coffee and MTG. We got 120 people on all the platforms watching Coffee and MTG. That's great. It's way better than 35 on Twitch. So we're going to do Coffee and MTG here instead. That's why we've switched it up. So okay, I'll do my best. It's clearly Cat Tribal. We're playing with Kahira. There's this. Okay, well. Congratulations, you've made the top 10 websites that make this very difficult for me. Let's zoom in a little bit. Oops, zooming in on the wrong browser. Okay, Kahira, I believe it's all the cards in your deck have to be cats. Felino. We need Felino. This is Felino Tribal. And I believe it gives all of them +1/+1 in vigilance. Kahira. This thing is smart. No, this thing has vigilance. Each other creature you control that's a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beats gets +1/+1 in vigilance. Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay, got it. Okay, we've got Sacred Cat. I know this one. 1/1 lifelink, and also it's got Embalm, so you can exile it from the graveyard and put a 1/1 black zombie creature. That's the same creature. It's a 1/1 lifelinker. Not bad. Good blocker. Loam Lion. This one's in English for some reason. It gets +1/+2 as long as you control forest. Wild Nikachu. Oh, there are English cards. Excellent. Well, not all of them. Okay, this one. This is a 3/3 for 2 mana. You can Monstrous 1. Gets a +1/+1 counter, and I know it gets Hexproof. And I think that's it. Oh, and Indestructible. I can read. What is this? Portuguese, I think. Indestrutível. All of a sudden, I know more than just English. Let's see. Okay, fuck it. I don't know this one. I can't even read. Some people have to. Yeah, we're YouTube stream. We're doing good on the YouTube. Shit. Okay, this one's a double striker. I've seen similar lists like this before. Brimaz is awesome. It's a 3/4 vigilance, so out of range of lightning bolt, and whenever it attacks or blocks, you get a 1/1 creature. So you have more Kahiras. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. You can just jam more of them into your deck if you want. Oh, this is a Lord. Other cats get +2/+1, which is fucking bananas. This is fire design right here. They tried to help the Felinos. The Felinos, they try to help. Wizards is looking out for the Felinos. This is like this is insane Lord right here. And a Soberana Felina. I believe this is also a Lord. Ugh. I need to know this one. Feline Sovereign. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have protection from dogs. That is totally fucking useless. Whenever one or more cats, or the protection from dogs part. Whenever one or more cats you control deal combat damage to a player, destroy up to one target artifact or enchantment that player controls. That is busted. I mean, that's really strong. Combat damage, destroy up to one target artifact or enchantment. Oh, it's actually not. Well, it's still really good. But the fact that this deck is going to, Cats one day is going to be just outrageously OP. The fact that you can just deal damage and blow up the artifacts and enchantments is pretty stupid. How many? We've got 4 Soberana Felina. Excellent. Shouldn't we have more of these? This Lord is fucking bananas. If I look up Bando... Find me Bando. Oh, I cannot look up Bando. What is this card? I believe this is a Lord. If I understand correctly. Os ustros felinos cuvok controla recabem +2/+1. Okay. Domri? Why? I believe that it has a fight. Creatures. Okay, so it's another Lord. Add a green, colorless. Creature spells you cast this turn can't be countered. Yeah, we can just play Cavernous Souls. Target creature control fights target creature you don't control. I don't even know if you want to fight with your cats. You don't even have Death Touch. Dramoka's Command might be an okay card. Okay, you should have... Hold on. Oh, wait, hold on. No. It's all creature... Kahira. Each creature card in your starting deck is a cat. Okay, that's fine. You should have Collected Company in here. Like, Collected Company is just OP. This is strictly OP. You should have Collected Company here instead of Domri. And ideally, you look for your Kahira, which is a Lord. You have a lot. There's a lot of Lords in this deck, This is a Lord. This is a Lord. Unfortunately, they're all at 3 mana, which sucks. So you should at least have Collected Company instead of these. Like, not this. I hate this card. This is a garbage card. Play Collected Company over this. Play Collected Company over Domri for sure. I don't even know about Vivian. So more Collected Companies for sure. Well, they're playing a little bit of red anyway for the wild Nikachu. So I think that's why they're splashing a little bit of red. Okay. We got some Mutavaults. Might not work in this deck because you are a 3-color deck, but maybe. Show me Cavernous Souls. Oh, you gotta have Cavernous Souls. Unless it's an alternate art that I didn't see. Yeah, you need Cavernous Souls. There's no excuse about this. I mean, probably doesn't synergize very well with Wild Nikachu, but it's a 3-color land, basically. It's a 3-color land. And you can afford to I think you can afford to play it. You can't, because then you can't play with well, you can't play with Kahira as a companion. I think it's worth it to have a companion, having an 8th card to pull out of your asset whenever you want. I can't speak on like the numbers here, and maybe well, maybe this deck can't play Cavernous Souls so well. A lot of activated ability. No, I think it should be okay. What the hell is this? This is a new one. This would be a hell lot easier if this was in English. Okay, I can sometimes get behind Dramoka's Command. It's a decent card. Rest in Peace is awesome. Damping Sphere is fine. More Celestial Purges. Probably go to 4. It's just too good right now. Destroying red permanents or black permanents, too good. Pride Mage might be fine. Like, if you're having Pride Mage, maybe this is okay, but I think you've got the... we have the Sombrano Felina, which hopefully is just good enough. Deflecting Palm, I think, is a very weak card. I don't think that one's very good. Just play more of these Celestial Purges. These Expurgo Celestial. Okay, hold on. How is this possible? Oh, sorry. Okay, yes. I saw we got a Kahira here, 3 Kahiras here. Okay, we're maxed out at 4 Kahiras. And now we have a 5th Kahira. This is the one in the sideboard. This is the OG companion. This is a Sombrano do Bando. We have too many of these. These are not good uses of your sideboard cards at all. You should play with more high impact cards like this. Celestial Purge, Damping Sphere is totally fine. Rest in Peace is totally fine. Maybe go up on Damping Sphere. Maybe play with other cards that are Graveyard Hate based. Like these are just like regular cards. They're not super high impact. They're not super powerful. Play with Veil of Summer in your sideboard. Veil of Summer. We just went over today all the really good sideboard cards that are available to us. Play with Choke. Play with Boil. You have access to Boil in this deck because you're running red. Play with Choke, Boil, Veil of Summer. Think of all these cards because this is just like really bland stuff, to be honest. This is not impressive, not impressive, not impressive. Like, I don't even know. You can't even cast the black side of this. This is useless. This is fine. It's a feline. It is a cat. Needs the Snake Cat lore to stop counter spells. There's a lot of artifact removal in this deck anyway. Anyway, that's let's quickly look at the mana base again. This mana base is a little weird. I think you're on a budget because you're not playing with any. Well, that's a fetch land. If you have fetch lands, I don't think this card is that great because it doesn't synergize very well with this. Give it. There's not a lot of Mutavaults in this deck, but anyway, these are always risky lands in a 3-color deck with some colorless lands involved. You have another. What is this? There's some other colorless land. What the hell is this? I know this is some sanctuary or something. Animal Sanctuary? Can I read Portuguese? I can read Portuguese! 2 tap, put a +1/+1 counter on target bird, cats. Oh, it's only 1 counter? I think this is a pretty crap card. I think you'd be better. If you had this card, you'd be better off with a Mutavault. Honestly. It's actually really, this is underwhelming. If it said all, put a +1/+1 counter on all your stuff, that'd be fine. But it's only put 1 counter. I think that's pretty crappy. I mean, you'd be better off with what's it called? In this deck, something way better is, oh, help me, people. What's the land? Puts a +1/+1 counter on everything. This is such a shit card compared to the other one. It's from Innistrad or something. Help me. I'm gonna ask Uncle Google soon. Add Vandal Blast to the sideboard? Why Vandal Blast? Why this? This is not that impressive. There's a lot of artifact removal, and they're not heavy in red. They're heavy on the other one. Yeah, Gavany Township. Internet to the rescue. I mean, it costs more mana, but ideally because the time that you're gonna have mana, like the moment that you have time to do this, you'll have like 5 or 6 lands in play anyway. This only puts 1 counter on a very specific creature type. That's so stupid. This one puts it on each creature you control for 5 mana, and you're in the colors anyway. You're in the green-white colors. This is infinitely better. It's basically like a lord on a land. So Gavany Township is so much better. Anyway, I hope that was some useful feedback. Thank you very much for submitting the list. Gets me interested in maybe trying out a cat tribal deck of my own, because there is an increasing number of good cat tribal cards coming out. All right, so that's going to be it for Coffee and MTG. As usual, if I didn't get to your questions, if I didn't get to your decks, don't worry. We do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. For the time being, my new semester is coming up next year. I'm probably going to have different times. I don't remember my schedule, but we might be changing the times based on that. But if not, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time to 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, Mondays to Fridays. You can find us on Facebook at Nikachu MTG Streams or Nikachu MTG, and also on YouTube and Facebook at Nikachu MTG. What else do I want to say? Oh, yeah, we are going to do gameplay today. So if you want to follow me to gameplay, follow the link below, and we will get into gameplay in about a minute or two. So thank you very much, everyone, for showing up today. We had a great discussion. We had a lot of fun. And keep brewing up that coffee, and we're going to keep brewing up magic. I'll see you next time.